What's up, guys? Today we're going to dive into blockchain for personal brands. So, if you don't know what blockchain is and you don't know what personal branding is, you probably don't want to dive into this. But if you're somebody who understands what personal branding is, you're leveraging it in different ways to kind of grow your current business or as a marketing tactic within a bigger company, like whatever it is, like if you know what that is, like check, that's good. And if you've been hearing more and more about blockchain technology, Web3, the metaverse, NFTs, DAOs, social tokens, like the list goes on, right? If you've been hearing about that, maybe you do a little investment in crypto, like whatever, like, so you got some exposure and you're like, what is this stuff? Does it apply to what I'm doing in this personal branding space or not? If that's you, then that's what we're going to dive into today. We're going to take kind of a medium level look, I would say, at really kind of the connection points, right? Like, where am I starting to see this new emerging technology become more and more relevant and applicable to the world of personal branding? And it's really going to set the stage for deeper dive videos that come downstream. So before we dive in, just remember, please, if you find any of this content valuable, like, subscribe, do all the things that help us reach more people by playing the game with the algorithm on these platforms. So please engage, do what you do. And also remember, since this is kind of dealing with emerging tech and a lot of stuff that has investment risk, that I am not a financial advisor. I'm a personal brand strategist. So don't take any of this stuff I'm saying as like financial investment advice, right? Talk with your advisor, whoever that may be. It's not me. Okay, so let's dive into this. So as you may have heard me put out some other content, I've really, over the last several months, been trying to immerse myself at the intersection of these two worlds, right? Personal branding, which I've been doing for years, and with my tech background, just super interested in blockchain technology and what it's unlocking kind of as far as future capabilities go. So to try to stay disciplined and not get too distracted and diluted in my focus, I've really been saying, what does this tech have to do with my world of personal branding? And that's what we're going to dive into today. So you may think, right, that, hey, crypto, this is Bitcoin, like Ethereum, whatever different cryptocurrencies about. It may be, NFTs, it's this artwork, right? Like all these starving artists now have an outlet to get paid what they're worth, right? And all this stuff. And, it is that, right? Those are things. But what I will say is that I have been, like I said, I'm passionate about technology. What I also try to do is dig deeper into, like, what's the underlying tech, and what problem is it solving? What's something that we couldn't do before that we can do now? And that, to me, those use cases of new tech are going to be what stick around for a while, and we need to pay attention to, because otherwise it's just a new fad that will kind of experience a hype cycle and then fall off, and a lot of people unfortunately get kind of hurt through that. So I've tried. I don't pretend to be the expert here. I've got tons to continue to learn, and will continue to put in the work to try to learn and get better. But I've tried to stay focused on what are these connection points and what are some new capabilities that we've never had before. But with this new blockchain technology, it's unlocking some exciting new opportunities and capabilities to fuel this work we're doing from a personal branding perspective. So the way I'd like to frame, this idea of blockchain for personal brands is looking at it through the lens of how personal brands make money. What are the different monetization methods? Because that's going to drive a lot of focus. How are we going to make money? And then how does this technology apply to all or some of these monetization opportunities? And then for each one of those, we can do deeper dives into what are the projects or blockchains out there that apply to them, what are best practices on using them. We'll even bring in subject matter experts from these different companies, because that's not me. I'm not the nerd that's deep diving on all this stuff. Like, I like to nerd out, but we need to bring in the heavy hitters to kind of really educate us on the low level details. So we'll do that in future videos, and definitely if you want us to do more of that, let me know, and we'll prioritize that. So let's dive into, what are all the different ways to monetize a personal brand. And as we step through each of these, we'll look at, as of today, my thoughts on where are the opportunities to start leveraging some of this new kind of capability that blockchain brings to the market. So the way we look at the different ways to monetize a personal brand is through this acronym of PAIDS, P-A-I-D-S, because we want you to get PAIDS, okay? So the P is products, okay? So what are we talking about under the hood of products, right? Well, it's tangible, it's these products, right? Clothing, shoes, day planners, equipment, right? Inventions, self-published books, software, workbooks, right? So as you look across all of this, right? Anytime, I think you've seen some really interesting emerging use cases around the use of certain, NFTs to create like digital, like digital shoes or digital clothing, right? And there's huge opportunities for that, like especially as the metaverse and these digital communities and all that stuff takes off more and more and more, right? The digitization of some of these products will take off, and the blockchain will be the technology that powers how we uniquely understand who owns what, how that ownership gets transferred to somebody, et cetera, right? I'm not going to focus a whole lot on that right now. There's opportunities there, super interesting, but I just think kind of the metaverse and some of these digital kind of interactions and hanging out is like just a little more out there. I could be totally wrong, but I just think like the days in which we're all like chilling and hanging out, virtually in the metaverse, like our kids will, like, and the younger generations will sooner than we will. But I just feel it's a little bit out there. So I'm not going to go super deep on that, right? What I will tell you is that there's some cool opportunities around kind of self-published books, right? And since books is in this category, right, it is a product. So how are you using NFTs, non-fungible tokens, right? So there's probably a longer discussion on that, or go Google it. There's endless information out there. But how are we using NFTs? Gary Vee did a great job of this with his product launch around his recent book of really kind of strategically creating an NFT that drove a lot of buzz and excitement because of the investment opportunity. Hey, buy into this. It has this utility. And there's downstream opportunities to sell this and make money, right? So using NFTs strategically as part of a launch, like Gary Vee did, right? Of saying, hey, if you buy, when you buy this NFT, you get so many books. And so it was a strategic kind of marketing mechanism to drive book sales, as well as create all these other downstream income opportunities for the holders, as well as, the issuer of the NFT. So there's some cool stuff around there that we'll go into a little bit more, but I want to plant a couple other high level seeds with you in this book space, is that, the opportunity to basically provide fractional ownership of the royalties associated with the book. So it's like, hey, if you hold this NFT, you actually have rights to a percentage of the royalties that the author is going to get, and you'll get those distributions on some interval. And so naturally, when you do that, you're creating a financial incentive for somebody to want to get the NFT, to want to get the book, to want to promote the book, because they're getting a percentage of the action off the back end, right? So you're aligning these incentives, which is, I think, what I'm seeing more and more as this big unlock of aligning incentives between the consumer, the core company, and other back-end investors, which is, there's some fascinating stuff out there on that. But that's a cool thing here, is that giving them percentage ownership. So we'll do deeper dives on that in the future. The other thing and the other opportunity is taking quotes, like killer quotes from the book, and creating NFTs for those. And basically people have ownership rights to that quote, right? And then they then have certain capabilities, right, that they unlock with that. You can maybe put that quote on merchandise and sell the merchandise, right? Or whatever it may be, but you have some ownership of that piece of the content in the book and can then use it in different ways. So you can naturally see how that also unlocks additional incentive for people to promote and act as a highly aligned extension of your team, your launch team, and other people that are helping to drive awareness of the book and the content within and sales of it, because they would then get a percentage of that action and then maybe be able to even sell, right, that NFT, those ownership rights to somebody else and make a profit off of that down the road. So, so just keep in mind, those are a few kind of, medium level, I would say, opportunities to think about using NFTs specifically. I'm sure there's many more that we'll all discover together moving forward, as it pertains to kind of helping to drive growth and sales of your book. Okay, so let's keep rolling. Ads and affiliates. That's the A, ads and affiliates. So think of this as podcasting, blogging, radio, TV, ads and affiliates. Those types of monetization opportunities come up whenever you have a big enough platform to ultimately sell those eyeballs, market those eyeballs back to some other brands, right? It could be affiliate partnerships where you're driving traffic, you get a percentage of sales, or it could be brands are actually paying to get in front of your audience through running ads on your platform, right? But the bottom line is, when we think about this, and to be totally honest with you, I haven't dove too deep into this bucket yet, but I know with podcasting, right, there's some interesting opportunities where listeners, right, can buy into, right, they have to kind of contribute through their tokens, right? They're kind of a contributor to your podcast platform, right? So they're saying, man, like, you are so good that I'm willing to invest some of my digital currency into what you're doing, but I'm also getting a piece of the action as things grow. So, more to come on that. That's just kind of a high level use case that I'm seeing a little bit of, but to be honest with you, I need to do some deeper dives on that, as well. And I'm sure across many of these other ones that, there will be tons of opportunities for us to kind of like look at them closer and take a deep dive. So if there's some that jump out at you as like, man, I really want to know, I'm doing a ton of this and I'm curious how this tech is going to kind of impact it, or, how do I plan for the future? Definitely, chime in and let us know. The I is information. Think of these as information products, right? So courses, membership sites, certifications, assessments, challenges, self-published ebooks. So what's really cool is that if you're in the ebook space, you right now, there are platforms out there, right? Hit me up if you're curious what they are. You can actually just Google it. I think it's NFTs for ebooks, right? You could probably Google that and the site would come up. But basically lets you go ahead and issue fractional ownership of your ebook because it's a digital asset. So it's kind of in that same book space, but it's ultimately, an ebook. We position it a little bit different here as like an information product because it's digital. The big thing I want to talk about here, and we'll do a deeper dive on this, but this is as part of video courses or membership programs. We're seeing some really awesome capabilities come online that are allowing you to basically gate access to your content, as part of a recurring membership to something. And that gated access is controlled by, an NFT, a membership NFT. Right. And so not only do you see some benefits, to having a simplified kind of authentication mechanism, like, hey, you can get to this stuff, online by authenticating this way if you have this NFT in your wallet, but also, hey, that same NFT in your wallet lets you get access to an in-person event, right? So we have a single, very hard, to duplicate and abuse kind of, access, token, right, into your content. And it's the same thing. Now, what we're seeing right now is that all of these platforms, all the different learning management systems don't all support this yet. But I think it's just a matter of time before they'll take off. But we'll dive into some really cool opportunities. There's already some pretty cool kind of Web3 or blockchain projects that are supporting kind of, empowering, and leveling up some of these membership programs through the use of blockchain technology. So that's super exciting. I've dove into that a little bit. We'll go deeper. So to keep this video somewhat short and sweet, let's keep rolling. So deals, book deals, brand deals, spokesperson, television, so on. I think there's no question that when it comes to getting deals, right, that we are seeing a lot of opportunity where creators will actually issue NFTs that represent partial ownership to help raise funds, right, for the next, music video, for the next book, for the next whatever, for the next movie. And then those people then have a percentage ownership of the IP. So as it grows, they get a percentage of the action downstream as well, almost like an equity holder, right? So in this space, again, to be totally honest with you, I haven't done too many super deep dives on the opportunities under the deals bucket. But again, if that's super interesting to you, like, let me know, I'll prioritize that and we'll go deeper into it. So the last thing is services, you as a service, right? So time for money. So coaching, consulting, speaking, training, live events, masterminds, et cetera, right? So some of the obvious opportunities are coaching, events. Some of those things may be kind of bundled in to your membership program. And if so, then you could leverage that same use case I mentioned before to kind of have a single authentication mechanism through all those great utilities. But we'll continue to kind of dive into other opportunities here. Like, I think, again, we're scratching the surface on some of this. We've seen some more kind of dominant use cases to date. And so I've just kind of focused most of our energy on that. But so far, those are kind of some of the opportunities in the coaching consulting space. And naturally, right, if you just want to say, hey, I'm only taking on so many coaching clients, right, you have to be an NFT holder to be one of my coaching clients. That immediately does unlock some scarcity in the market at that tier, at least, right, of your coaching program or whatever. It creates some secondary market sales opportunities for you, right? If an NFT holder says, I'm out, I'm going to sell this, right? It creates secondary, kind of opportunities for the client to recoup some of the money, right? So I think there's some opportunities in the coaching space as well that would be really cool. So we'll do deeper dives into all of these, but I wanted to just kind of preview that at a high level. What are all the different ways that, we're looking at monetizing? And then what are some of the early use cases, kind of, revenue stream specific use cases we're seeing where blockchain can come in and enable some cool things. So again, this is a lot more than just artwork and some art that you're trying to kind of leverage some of the hype cycle that's out there. We're trying to say, like, what are you selling now, or what could you sell in the future? And how does some of this kind of new emerging technology unlock new revenue opportunities for you, new revenue opportunities for the client, efficiencies with just how you run it and operate it and manage it, et cetera, right? So I know this was kind of like medium level, but we'll follow up with some deeper dives on specific kind of use cases, bring in some other thought leader experts to kind of school us up, me included, eager to learn all of the low level details. So if this was helpful, please remember, like, subscribe. If you think it'd be valuable for others, put in the comments, let us know, what are some things we can be going deeper into of all that stuff we covered? Are there certain types of monetization methods you'd like us to focus on first and foremost? And we'll prioritize those. But otherwise, check out the stuff in the description, dive deeper into anything we're putting out if it is of interest. Peace out, guys.